So the man accused of killing a 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee on a Charlotte Transit now facing federal charges, which could make him eligible for the death penalty. Lawmakers also calling for the removal of the judge who released him earlier this year. But a closer look at his rap sheet shows repeated failings of the criminal justice system that cost this woman her life. Let's bring in Fox News contributor and former Assistant U.S. Attorney Andy McCarthy. Andy, thanks so much for joining the program this morning.
Morning, Lawrence.
So, Andy, I want to go into the process a little bit, the legal process, because there's a lot of Americans that are really frustrated right now. From our research on this, the judge doesn't have the authority to order a criminal evaluation. It looks like legally that even though the judges have some discretion when it comes to people that are a risk to society, that the judge technically could not have denied him bail. So what is the legal recourse here?
Yeah, well, it's really kind of a dumb system for bail, Lawrence, compared to, say, the federal system. Mm-hmm. In the federal system, you can detain somebody pre-trial if you prove that the person is a risk of flight or is a danger to the community, which could mean the community at large or to witnesses. In North Carolina, you can accomplish that, but you have to do it a separate way. So their bail law allows the judge to take into account whether the person is a risk of flight. Here, as you point out, this guy had a very long record, lots of bench memos, bench warrants, which means he didn't make his court appearances. So there was lots of evidence to say he was a risk of flight. He was obviously a danger to the community given the kind of crimes he'd been convicted of and the evidence of this crime. So what North Carolina lets you do in that situation is they force the judge to set bail, but you can set it at an inordinately high amount, so the guy will never meet it. That's a dumb way to do it. You should just have a provision in the law that lets the judge say, look, there's no amount of money that I would allow this guy to post and let him back out on the street. But that's the fiction they go through. So
just a quick follow-up on that. So the judge did have discretion. There was no legal guidelines to the amount of bail. Why wouldn't a judge, I've seen a lot of lawyers and judges get crafty, and they understand the legal restraints there. Why not set the bail so high, though? I understand it's tricky, but why didn't the judge do that, knowing that this guy was a risk to society?
I think there's two things, Lawrence. There's a sort of there's a constitutional argument, and then there's this sort of racialized justice argument that they make. So the constitutional argument is that the Constitution says you can't set unreasonable bail.
That's right.
And the theory is that if you're setting a bail so high that the purpose is to keep the guy in, not to let the guy out, that's unreasonable. The other argument they make is that if you set bail high, what ends up happening is poorer people, who tend to be minority people, particularly in the urban areas, are the ones who can't make bail, whereas somebody of more means would be able to post bail. So they make a racial argument out of it. I think that's an absurd argument because what should keep a person in has nothing to do with race. What keeps a person in is your record in terms of whether you make your court appearances and the evidence that you're dangerous to the community. That's what ends up mattering. So that's why they set the bail very high. It's not a racial animus thing. That's what they have to do in this stupid system in order to make sure that somebody who should be detained gets detained.
The whole point of jails and prisons are to keep people that are a risk to society. It's not really about punishment. It's about people that are a risk to the public. The fact that they can't figure this out because of race and all of this other nonsense is a disservice to our community. A woman lost her life because the politicians wouldn't do the right thing. Andy, thanks so much for joining the program this morning.
Thanks, Lawrence.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.